Hi there, welcome to the Altenew Summer Fun Video Hop. You're arriving from my friend Jaycee's YouTube channel, and welcome. Let's get started. Hi there, welcome to the Altenew Video Hop as they are releasing a new set of stamps, dies, some stencils, and this amazing mixed media ink. So let me just show you a bit of what I got in my box. I got the mixed media inks. I got I'm gonna say this is the Forest Glades collection because it has the same coordinating inks. So Evergreen, Forest Glades, Frayed Leaf, and Jet Black. And I also have, and I think it's the Rose Petal collection, I'm gonna say the one that matches the mini ink cube set. And I have Grapevine, Ruby Red, Coral Berry, and Frosty Pink. So lots that you can do with this. Honestly, amazing. So I'm going to show you in a bit what I did. I also have the Mega Label Love, again a favorite, the Nature Blossoms die set. And this die set is gorgeous because you can actually kind of build it and customize it with the colors, or you can actually color it because you have the outline to whatever way you method you prefer, whether it's artist markers or watercolor or color pencil. This is a great stamp to add to your collection. This one, if you're a fan of florals and Altenew large florals, which I am, because you can customize them, you can actually use it on layouts, you can use it on your backgrounds, then this one is one you want. And it's called Courageous You, and it comes with the stamp, the die, and there's a mask that also is included, and it has great sentiment. This is the Checkerboard stamp set, and you can customize it, you can build it just to create different backgrounds. Again, a favorite. Then you have the terrific tag die set, different cuts or different tags and labels that you can actually customize from pattern paper. You can create mini books with them, you can add them into your cards. Beautiful. And this is probably another one of my favorites, which is the floral in and out border die set. So let me just put this aside and I'm going to start showing you what I created with all of this. Okay, so for my first project I used actually the Courageous You stamp set, and this is a really fun stamp set, really large, so you can customize it. You can use it as a background, as a focal point, lots that you can do with it. So my choice was to actually start creating a background using the Rose Quartz and Puffy Heart artist marker refill, and I treated them as alcohol inks to create the background for my page on my card, on Yupo paper. And I actually press gold leaf onto the ink just to have that effect, and then I stamped the entire flower using black obsidian ink. And then I used the Mega Label Love stamp set, and again, you're gonna love this because your sentiments are gonna come together really easily with this. Just stamp it with a bit of obsidian black ink and then just fussy cut around it. Then added a few, this is antique gold sequin, just to bring more of that gold feeling, and that's about it. That's probably the only card that I created for today's video hop. So project one. Now the next project is one that I'm super excited about because it actually came together using these new inks. And these new inks are mixed media inks. They're called Remarkably Versatile Mixed Media Ink. And what they are is mixed media that you can use on pretty much a variety of porous surfaces, paper, wood, fabric, and it goes on like a dream, and it becomes permanent once you heat set it. So if you do art journaling or like to color on canvas or like to work with wood, then this is a great ink. So I created the cover for one of my journals, and you guys know that I keep a journal pretty much for my days, and it's really graphic, and I usually leave an empty page at the front, so I created the cover. Let me show you how easy it was to put this together using the new mixed media inks. So what I started first of all is I had an idea that I wanted to create, think of it as a junk journal. kind of art journal, a mix of that. And I really wanted to play with these things. I just got them, and as soon as I got them, I had the idea I wanted to try them on a canvas. So I have this little piece of paper. I have a small pad, and this is canvas paper or canvas pad, whatever way you want to call it, but the pages come prime. But it means by that the canvas has already been treated with gesso. So all I'm gonna do is literally, to create my kind of art journaling, I'm gonna drag some of the ink. I started by dragging a little bit of the frayed leaf, and you're gonna see that I've just literally dragged it from the top to the bottom of the page, creating that literally it's gonna look like a drag mark along the length of the page. Then I'm gonna end with, I'm gonna say across or perpendicular to that strip that I created. I'm gonna use frosty pink, and you're gonna see right now that it's really shiny, and it's because the ink's still wet. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna bring my heat gun, and I'm just gonna blast it, and you're gonna see, I don't know if you can appreciate it from the video, but the ink starts going into a matte finish. So it's just gonna go flat instead of having that shiny finish, and literally it sets on the page. There's nothing you can do to move it, and I love the fact that you can do that, especially if you do mixed media or if you want to stamp the flowers on a t-shirt. I think that's a great idea. So there's the possibilities of using the stamps and dies from Altenew just grew exponentially for me. So all I'm going to do is I'm just showing you right now that it did take a while. I know that if you use it on cotton or any type of fabric, you can actually set it with your fabric, but because this has already a little bit of gesso, I didn't want to attempt it, so I'm just okay using my heat gun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed it up, and I decided that I want to create, I'm going to say it's going to look like a plaid of drag ink. So I'm going to use a little bit of coral berry, a little bit of the rest of the inks. I'm going to use frayed leaf again. I'm going to use evergreen, I think is Everglades, I think it's called, and a little bit of ruby red. Now ruby red is kind of a little bit on the red side, and that gave me the idea that I already know I'm going to use it for Christmas. And again, I took it off camera and then just heat set my stuff. Now to bring more onto this and to show you how nice this works, I'm actually going to add a layer of acrylic paint on top of it. So I'm using the wavy grid stencil, and I'm just adding a little bit of white paint on top of it with a stencil brush, and you're gonna see that my ink does not move because it was completely set by the heat gun. So I'm just adding it, and then I'm just gonna go with my heat gun, dry it. Now I want to bring some of the florals from Altenew onto this, so I'm gonna use the Nature Blossoms stamp set, which is one of the ones that are being released today, and I'm gonna create a small cluster on the bottom right corner of this page. And for that, I'm gonna use the jet black mixed media ink, and you're gonna see that I'm gonna stamp two of the blossoms, and then I'm gonna move into, there's two blossoms in this stamp set, so I'm gonna use two of the same, and then just to complete my little curvature of my little cluster, I'm gonna bring the other one. And I decided not to use a mask on this just because I'm trying the inks, and until they don't get set or they don't set with the heat, you can move around them. So I did not want to add a mask on top of it, just because I'm afraid that I was gonna just kind of mess it up. So another thing that I want to point out is they're super easy to clean. So you're gonna see that I'm just using a baby wipe to clean up my stamp, and it just everything came off, so I was so happy about it. So you're gonna see that I'm just gonna continue adding the other flower, and I'm just nothing, like I said, nothing special about it. I just want to create a small cluster. Think of it as a small corner, kind of a curvature, and the inks are really juicy, so you're gonna, a little bit's gonna go a long way. So you're gonna see that once I stamp my flowers, I'm gonna come in with the leaves, and again I'm just gonna kind of extend the little cluster. And I know that some of it is gonna be cut out because my page is only 4.5 inches wide, and this is around 6 inches, so I know already that the left hand side of the page is most likely gonna be cut out. And you're gonna see that I do bring a little mask just because I wanted to stamp the the leaves, sorry, and then that's when I realized that when I put down the mask, actually some of the ink came off, so I was glad that I didn't do it, you know, with the flowers. So I'm just gonna continue using some of the leaves from the Courageous You No, sorry, it's not the Courageous You. My apologies. This is the Nature Blossoms stamp set. Just to complete the look, just adding the leaves and extending the cluster, and then I'm gonna heat set it with my my heat gun. And then once I have that, and honestly, it takes very little to set this. I'm actually gonna add a sentiment using the Courageous You stamp set, especially because the cover that I'm creating for my album is the album that I'm using to document the time in quarantine. I'm already kind of created quite a few of them. This is one of them, so I'm just adding my cover on that, and now I'm just gonna glue it onto the page. I'm gonna cut the excess, punch the holes, and I'm ready to go. And honestly, after that, when I added the glue and I was manipulating it, the ink was completely dry, nothing moved, everything is nicely set. Like I said, it's a matte finish onto the look of the page, and I love it because I can think that I can use the stamps now on wood, I can use it on ceramic. There's a lot more that I can do with the Altenew stamps now that I have the ink. So let's go back to the rest of the projects. Now that you saw how the cover came together, so I'm going to show you some of the layouts that I created with some of the stamps and dies that I arrived for this month. So starting with this one, for this I use the floral in and out border die, and this one is one you want to add to your collection. It creates this beautiful border, and one side is really detailed and completely disattached, and the other side is attached to the piece of cardstock, so it's great for cards, but I used it on my journal. So I created two borders and then just housed my lines of journal in a piece of vellum, and I just I'm gonna say like I framed it with the die, and then I cut it a third time, and then I actually took my time to fussy cut the area that was attached to the bottom part here, and just use it as a decoration for the picture of my kids. And I just added simple a title. I don't think it needed much, just because it's so detailed. And then just to add the title, like a sentiment, I used Courageous You stamp set, the Dare to Be Different and Choose Joy, and I use antique gold pigment ink to stamp that. So that's one of the layouts. The other layout that I'm going to show you, which is right here, I'm working backwards. For this one, I use the Nature Blossoms stamp set, and I actually created them using, this is Rose Petal mini ink cube set, and also the the Rock Collection mini ink cube sets. And all I did is just stamp them following the directions. I wanted to keep them some in white and some in actually pink, just to have the combination. I don't know if you can see them, but there's a really light tone in the flowers. I used the die set to cut them, and then to house my last journal, just because I wanted to keep the emphasis or the focal point on my mom's picture, I used the Courageous You stamp set, and I stamped the You Are Great sentiment onto a piece of vellum that I converted into a pocket. And then I added my lines to journal in a tag using actually the terrific tie die set. I actually used this one, and you can see that I still haven't cleaned it. So, and at the edge I just stamped with the black ink just some of the flowers, just to keep the same motif, and also so when I put it back in my little pocket here, that it doesn't it's not gonna show, it's gonna show nicely. So I'm just going to leave it there for now, and that's another layout. And then the last layout that I created for this one, it's right here, and this one is probably very fun, and you're gonna see it right now how it got built. So just again, sit down and just enjoy. Hi back. For this layout, I wanted to show you how versatile the Summer Fun release is, and I want to start with the Checkerboard background stamp. And this one is honestly one I love. Background stamps because there's so much you can do, but this one you can build upon it. So I'm going to show you a bit of the pamphlet, some ideas that come inside, and I really love the fact that when you add, I'm gonna say you start with a neutral background. In this case, I am using sandstone to create the first layer. So you're gonna see that I'm using my stamping platform just because I wanna create, I'm gonna add gray stamping and create the checkerboard throughout the entire page. So having a stamping platform helps because I can keep the line. So you're gonna see that I'm just adding limestone, to the entire stamp, and I'm gonna stamp it onto my layout. So once I stamped it once, you're gonna see I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna clean my stamp a bit, and then I'm just gonna move the paper just to line the second part. Like I said, I wanna have the entire page stamped with the gray ink. So I'm gonna take it off camera and then bring it back because it's the same thing. So once I have that in place, and you're gonna see that this comes together really easily. What I did also outside of the camera is I created a few more pieces because I want to bring the same background onto the second part of this layout. So you're gonna see that I also pulled out a few pictures of my kids during quarantine. There's a lot of work doing at home, there's video games, they're playing with the dog, so I'm gonna compress an entire day of them into a pocket page. So I size them to 2 by 2, which is the size of the pocket, and I want to bring interest onto the background that I created. So for that, I am actually going to use the pieces that come in the checkerboard stamp set, and there's little there's a rhomboid, there's a heart, there's a little cross. So what it's going to give is kind of an Aztec look onto the page, and there's a lot of designs that you can create with this. I mean, you can double stamp the background to create two-tone checkerboard. In this case, I just want to create, like I said, it's gonna look like an Aztec design, and I am using Seashore mini cube set. I just want those tealish looks, and I'm gonna go with a medium and the light tones just to have a combination of the two rhomboids. And then to stamp the centers, I'm actually gonna use shades of purple. I'm gonna use the lightest 2 shades. So wherever I stamp the rhomboid in the darker color, I'm gonna add the little square in the middle, and or the little cross that comes in the middle in the lighter color. And I'm gonna do the opposite to all those rhomboids that I stamped with the lightest color. I'm actually gonna use the darker color of purple in this case to stamp the center. So I want the combination, and you're gonna see how the plain checkerboard with the addition of the color, it just brings more attention, it becomes more graphic, and it just makes it more versatile. So there's a lot that you can do. You can stamp hearts, like I said, you can make it 2 tones and stuff like that. So what I've done outside of the camera is I went and cut 2 of the extra paper that I stamped. I'm actually cut it into 2 by 2 squares so that I can use them as part of my pocket page. And in this case, I'm actually gonna use the darker color of the medium shade of the purple, and also of the seashore, which is like a teal look that mini cube said, just to stamp hearts. And then again, because I know I want to use them kind of in the center, and I want to use the colors that I'm using. So you're gonna see that I have them ready. I am not gonna put them in the pocket, I'm just gonna put them there to have an idea how everything is gonna look all together. And this is gonna come actually together nicely because I'm using the same colors and because of the shapes. Now to fill up the squares that I have still left over, I'm actually gonna cut 2 more of the squares. These are 2 by 2 inch squares, and I'm gonna use the same pattern that I used for the larger layout or the background for the left hand side, but I'm gonna do the opposite. Instead of stamping the rhomboids with the teal, I'm gonna stamp them with the purple shades, and then I'm gonna stamp the centers of them with the teal inks. So I'm gonna use shades of purple for the rhomboids, and I'm gonna use Seashore for the little not squares, the little crosses that come inside. Again, I'm gonna follow the same idea. Lighter, if I stamp a lighter rhomboid, then the center is gonna have a darker cross, and the opposite, a darker rhomboid is gonna have a lighter cross. Once I have that in place, I'm just gonna use those to fill up the space of my 2 by 2 pocket page, and I'm gonna add some interest to it. Don't think that I'm just gonna leave them plain. So you're gonna see right now pretty much have what I like, the main or the skeleton on the page together. Now to add my lines to journal, I'm gonna bring the Terrific tags die set, and I'm just kind of sizing where everything is gonna sit. I know that I want to use this die the biggest tag die to cut the die that's gonna house my lines or journal. So I went off camera and I just typed the lines or journal. I measured, knew exactly where it was gonna go, and then I'm gonna cut out of the checkerboard that I created with the gray. I'm just gonna cut one of the tags, but I'm just gonna kind of cut the top of it because I wanted to bring some of that gray that I have, but I want to have kind of an extended tag. So I'm just gonna add the part at the top that where I have the hole of the tag, and then I'm gonna glue it onto the left hand side of my page. Now, to bring more interest, and because I have all the black and white and I have all that graphic square, I thought the mega label love, all those sentiments are a great place and a great look that goes with that graphic design that is going on the page. So I'm going to use the smallest ones, and I make sure that they fit inside the 2x2 pocket, and this is going to be happy and hello, which actually work really well with what I'm talking about. And all I did is use black obsidian ink and stamp it onto my piece of white cardstock. I'm gonna actually fussy cut them, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of foam adhesive behind it just to give them some dimension. I don't want to have it completely flat, so I'm gonna add the foam adhesive behind it, and that's gonna add a little bit of lift. Now, to add my title onto my page, I'm bringing a pre-made label that I have in my stash, and I'm using that You're Awesome sentiment from the Checkerboard stamp set, and then I'm just gonna layer some some labels and some pieces of ephemera that I have on my stash for my scrapbooking kits, and I'm just kind of layering. That kind of has the same colors, that purple and that teal that I already have on the background, so it's gonna bring everything together. So I'm just creating a small cluster of it's mostly the straight lines that I'm looking for, and once I have them all in place, I'm gonna add them at the bottom left corner of the tag. That's why I left all that empty space in between. And then again, I'm gonna use some foam adhesive behind it just to lift or to make sure that the tag stands out. I want it to pop. Once I have that in place, I'm just gonna go ahead and add some embellishments. I'm gonna bring a few hearts just to bring the hearts from the right hand side of the page onto the left. You're gonna see that I'm gonna add some foam adhesive, but I also wanna add some sentiments. I don't wanna leave those squares where I have the hearts plain. So I'm bringing the Courageous You stamp set, and I'm just adding the sentiments right on the center of the heart. One fits right perfectly inside the heart. The other one's a little bit longer. I don't mind, actually. I like the fact that it's a straight line and it's really graphic. So love how this turned out. All I have left to do is just bring some enamel dots, and I brought some from my stash, some of the Altenew previous enamel dots, and I'm just adding a few more purple and a few more of the steel look, especially because I want to break some of that like I said, it's a lot of squares, very graphic, so adding some round to this in the hearts and also in the enamel dots, it's just gonna break the monotony of the squares and bring attention to certain areas. Once I have that in place, you're gonna see that I add a few to the tag. Again, it's just to guide your eye around it. I'm just gonna add a piece of string to the tag, just again little elements. I added a little what do you call it, hole reinforcer that it was in purple, so I'm playing with the colors that I have, and that's about it. I love how this turned out. Super easy, super fun, and it combines quite a few of the stamps in one single layout, and I hope you try it. As always, all of this came together super easily. They're fun, and I just play along with all the stamps and some of the inks that came for this release. So let's go back to the video. Hi back, and again, this is the last project that I created for this month, and I used, like I said before, the Checkerboard stamp set, and this is one that you want to actually add to your collection because it creates great backgrounds, and that's about it. Super simple. Again, enamel dots just to break the square shape that is surrounded, just to give it some roundness, and that's about it. So I hope you had fun in today's blog hop. I'm just gonna leave it here. There's some things that I create, the projects that I created. Like I said, lots of stamps, dies that you can actually, check the description below, so get links onto everything, and also to check what the rest of the team has created. We have part of the design team and also a few guests that are going to show you what to do with all the stamps and dies, and especially this ink, which is amazing. Remember to always, if you get confused or you want to step back, you can start at the Altenew channel or come back here. The next stop right now is you have to go to Mindy's to Mindy's YouTube to see what she created. And don't forget, if you have any questions, to just leave your comment in the comment section. There's a chance to win gift certificates. It's always fun too when there's prizes around. And thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Take care, guys.